All right, so I did want to discuss right now where we are. What is Trump's easiest path to victory based on what I would consider? I mean, these are not all 1000% safe states. You can certainly argue North Carolina, maybe for Biden, some of these other states, Virginia, Minnesota, possibly Trump having a shot at, maybe even Colorado. But in general, I think because the Republicans were able to control Florida with the DeSantis stuff back in 2020. They're going to take it in 2024. Same thing with Ohio. Those are not swing states anymore. And I just kind of want to talk about, let's actually first look at some of the recent polls. So Biden's approval rating still really bad. Recent general election. Oh, this is from Sunday. Yeah, there really hasn't been anything updated. This was the recent general election with Trump up by 5. You still got that Quinnipiac poll there, but yeah. And Biden's approval rating is just, it's still horrifically bad. I mean, it is genuinely the worst in history. Not that that's all that surprising, just because we live in such divided times, but this comparison's really interesting. 40%, 45, 48, 51. On February 6th, year 4, Biden 5 points lower than Trump, Trump 3 points lower than Obama, Obama lower than Bush. Taking a look at the actual map. So here, yes, I gave Trump North Carolina. He won it in 2016 and 2020. You could argue that, well, it was by such a small amount, it's a swing state. It is a swing state, but let's just give it to him. And I gave Biden Minnesota and Virginia. But let's talk about Donald Trump's easiest path. 233 to 219. It is Georgia. I mean, Georgia is a conservative state. Let's be honest about it. The Democrats won it in 2020 by going crazy with ballot harvesting, running up huge numbers in inner cities. And you say, why wouldn't they do that in 2024? I don't think there's a big enough incentive for a lot of these people that really aren't political in the inner cities to go out and vote for Biden with Biden's horrible approval rating. A lot of people don't like him. It was not like this at all. If you had Biden's approval rating in 2020, it was probably positive compared to where it is now. It was certainly a lot better than Trump's. Trump's approval rating now is like minus 12, minus 13s. Biden's is even worse. So I think Trump can very easily take back Georgia. And now you're at 249. So you just roughly need 2 more states. And I look at these states out west and I see Trump enjoying some pretty big advantages in Nevada and Arizona. I still think Arizona is probably easier to take, even though the polls have been better in Nevada. But you have Trump winning Arizona. I say the easiest path is probably Georgia, Arizona. You take Arizona back because Trump lost Arizona by less than a point. And then all you would need is one of the Rust Belt states. Probably Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, but just one of them. And I would say that's the easiest path. It would be those 3 states. It's one of the 3 Rust Belt states because Ohio's not a swing state anymore. It's taking back Georgia, and it's winning preferably Arizona. Well, I just think there's a better chance he'll win Arizona over Nevada, even though you could argue Nevada looks more promising. Both of them are pure toss-ups. And then if you're the Democrats, you could argue that maybe you could steal North Carolina. I mean, I'm not going to say that's a ridiculous assumption considering Trump barely won it both years. But then again, he did win it. And when you just look at the overall voter registration, it is leaning more towards the right. Although Florida is even more crazy in terms of those votes. I think there actually is where you can just go to, like, look at this. This is Trump versus Biden. Now, again, this is a very good thing to go to, though. Not that this matters all that much, but I mean, right now, if the election was held today, Trump would win Georgia very easily. I don't think it's even close. Even when you go out to a 5-way, there's not enough polls on that, but I mean, plus 7.2, Arizona, 4.5, Nevada, 7. Not enough polls. All right, not enough polling there. Wisconsin, even. Michigan, Trump plus 5, which I don't, that surprises me. Pennsylvania, even. North Carolina, that's good for Trump. That's really good for Trump. This recent poll through the 21st, so about 2 weeks ago, plus 10 is really nice if you're Trump. You want those type of numbers in states like this. Not that this is going to be an accurate representation because there's still so much time left. and we do understand Trump is facing these legal charges, that's really going to be the narrative going into the next 4 or 5 months, because Trump's going to win. And you keep seeing the stuff. I mean, we can take a look at, if you go back to the Trump versus Nikki Haley stuff. Where is that? GOP betting odds. I mean, this is not what I wanted to go to, but yeah, you can see Trump's at, I'm surprised he's only at 86%. But you can see Nikki Haley kind of shooting up a little bit because everyone dropped out and then falling all the way back down. It's become more and more obvious. I mean, I just don't know. Number one, I don't know why this is not zoomed in. I don't know how long Nikki Haley's going to go. I would imagine it's hard to say because it's obvious her game is to just wait for some type of legal stuff to come out against Trump. She might be the nominee, but I wanted to go to the presidential betting odds. Yeah, this is one of the good things to go to. So you can see Trump was pretty high, kind of came down slightly, and now he's teetering around 44%. Biden's about 10 points lower. Michelle Obama kind of just lingering at around 8%, not doing much. Nikki Haley around 4%. Newsom even lower than Michelle Obama. And then there's RFK, Kamala Harris, and all the others. I don't know who else is even on there at this point, but oh, there it is. Dean Phillips, DeSantis at 0%. Yeah, so at this point, I think it's very obvious. It's either going to be Trump. If something crazy happens to him, it's going to be a mess because I'd imagine he'd still try and run if he gets a crazy bad charge. I mean, the whole thing is just, you can tell that based off of the polling right now, the Democrats need this legal situation to work out in their favor. These polling numbers are not close. I mean, some of the states, they are close, but like if you actually look at a map and you say, all right, well, Trump up by 5 in Michigan, Pennsylvania's really close, you could say Wisconsin's really close, but really all these other states, I mean, this is just the reality of the situation right now for the Democrats. So they need a Hail Mary when it comes to Trump getting some type of federal charges or something happens where he goes to jail. Because you look at these numbers coupled with Biden's approval rating being significantly worse than Trump was at the same time. Now, this was before the pandemic happened with Trump, and obviously that's going to kill any president's approval rating. That's what happens when you have to shut down the government. Everyone loses money. They're all pissed off. It's a no-win situation. It is funny to see the revisionist history on that where you've got all these Democrats like, oh, Trump's economy wasn't good. Yeah, because he shut the country down because all of you wackos were just so scared of something that had, and I agree with shutting the country down. Don't get me wrong. We didn't know what it was. I still remember China making up their numbers. Yet I was looking at like, what was that one site where you would all find all the COVID numbers and shit? And I was like, wow, China's numbers are down to 0. And it was like late March or something. I was like, the coronavirus is going to be nothing. Turns out they were just lying and they weren't releasing any of their numbers. I wonder if you could still find that data. It was the funniest thing ever. But look, I'm not going to go back to 2020. That was a brutal situation, man. Listen, you can be Trump's number one biggest hater. You can call him a fascist, but you do have to admit that's probably the worst hand a president's been dealt. In your election year, you're a Republican president. The biggest thing you can boast is the economy, and you're forced to shut the country down in March of your election year. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say Trump for sure would have won without the pandemic, but my goodness, I mean, it's a night and day difference. Either way, I do think there's going to have to be something massive that comes out in terms of Trump's legal situation to possibly swing this election for Biden. And the other issue for the Democrats, it's not even like you can take Biden out, because if you take Biden out, you really can't put Kamala in. The only reason Kamala was installed was because of the Democratic quota system in 2020. If you've got an old white dude as the president and you're the Democrats, that is a terrible look. You need a minority female to be the vice president. This is not some conspiracy or anything. This is just how they think. So that's why Kamala Harris was the VP. Remember Kamala Harris in 2020 during the primaries? The Democratic voters hated her. She was completely rejected. And she becomes the VP. I mean, what was her relationship with Biden? It's not even about that. It's about the fact that she's a minority female. And if you're the Democratic Party and you're going to run an old white dude who's been in politics for 50 years as your nominee, then you damn better well have a minority female. And that's why Michelle Obama is now vaulted over Gavin Newsom, because there's no way a white dude like Gavin Newsom would jump or leap Kamala Harris to be the president. It's a horrible look for them. So they're pretty much stuck with Biden, and their hope hinges on something happening to Trump getting angry, and you have a division within the Republican Party. Although I'm not even sure there can be a division within the Republican Party right now. When you look at its ecosystem, it's really 70-30, meaning about 70% Trump supporters, 30% pure establishment, anti-Trump, the Nikki Haley types. It's like 70-30. Like if you did a popular vote, actually I think it's like 80-20 if you look at the popular vote numbers. Let me see if I can find that. I'm trying to find, no. Republican, I guess it would be in Republican nomination. It is about 79%, 73, 70, 79, 81. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's about 75-25 on average, Trump versus anti-Trump, basically. Trump in 2016 at this time, plus 11, Romney plus 6, McCain plus 18. Yeah, these numbers are just out of control for Trump, and part of it's the unique situation of Trump actually winning and then losing and then coming back. So people already, he's obviously extremely recognizable. He has a base. He beat Hillary in 2016. And that's part of the reason why the numbers are just so out of control. But, if you're the Democrat, like the only thing that I can see if Trump goes to prison and then tries to run maybe as an independent, maybe as a Republican, I mean, if they get him for enough charges, which I don't think they will, but if they did, I still think he would try and run, but it would cripple the Republicans either way. I don't see Nikki Haley winning. And I understand you could say, well, if you take a look at the hypothetical, polls, Nikki Haley is actually beating Biden in the recent polls, but there's going to be a split with a lot of those Trump voters not wanting to vote for Nikki Haley. Like, look at these polls. They're pretty, I thought they were more crazy than this. It's Haley plus 4. So, look, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to this election. I saw Tucker Carlson interviewing Putin. Amazing. Amazing for the world. Amazing for the country. It's better to talk to people. That's just an unbelievable job by Tucker Carlson. Wow. But either way, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.